We are.
All right. So, firstly, thank you everyone for joining. Special thanks to panelists for coming. And good evening, everyone. My name is Rohan Dave, and I'm the co-president of the Upsilon Gamma chapter of PTK at Middlesex College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sanjana Butala, and I'm the Vice President of Service for our chapter. I'll be moderating today's event along with Rohan.
And again, thank you so very much for joining us today. And it's a great pleasure to have the alumni today.
Yes, a very warm welcome to everyone, and I take immense pleasure in introducing the wonderful Middlesex alumni that have joined us today. We have with us Nirali Trivedi, Komal Mir, and Alexander Lewis from Rutgers University, and Eileen Arahuo from Rider University. And we'll also be being shortly joined by Vikas Mata from Rutgers. And we are so honored to have all of you with us today. You've all accomplished so much at Middlesex and even beyond, and it's truly an honor to have you here. And I think it would be served right if we just ask you all to introduce yourselves and take pride in your accomplishments. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so then I think I'll go first. So as Sanjana mentioned, my name is Nirali Trivedi. I graduated from Middlesex County College, which is now Middlesex College, in 2020, right? So like in spring. And then I graduated with biology and chemistry major. I'm currently a junior. Wait, is it sounding right? Because it says my internet is unstable, just making sure.
I can hear you.
Looks fine.
Yeah, just whenever you like stop listening, just let me know in the chat because it's happened to me like quite often that I
Sure.
disappear. Yeah, all good. Yeah, so I'm a junior at Rutgers, majoring in biochemistry as a pre-med. And then talking about accomplishments, well, like looking at the guys that are president at the positions in PTK, it seems like we underdone stuff, but I talking about my accomplishments specifically, I did research projects at Middlesex, specifically in Department of Natural Sciences. I am the award lead.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Oh.
We lose her?
Maybe, yeah, I think we
Oh
did.
no.
Okay, I guess we'll just someone else could go ahead, I guess, until we can until she hops back on.
Yeah, I can go next if you want.
Sure.
Okay, my name is Alexander Lewis. So as far as accomplishments, I graduated Middlesex College in 2016 and with a degree in liberal arts general. And then I transferred to Rutgers, and I actually just graduated in December with a bachelor's degree in journalism and media studies and a minor in digital communication, information, and media. And I'm actually working full-time as a breaking news reporter and photographer slash videographer, a little bit of everything right now for Courier News and Home News Tribune, which is online at mycentraljersey.com. I worked there actually part-time during school, so the entire time I was at Rutgers, and I started there actually through an internship I got through New Jersey Press Association while I was still at Middlesex, so that was pretty cool, and they kept me on after the summer internship. As far as accomplishments, there was like a whole lot of things I did at MC especially. I was the co-vice president of Honors in Action in Phi Theta Kappa, and we did 2 projects, one on DACA and one for like Honors in Action and one on human trafficking. Let's see. What else? And I was involved in a lot of other organizations at Middlesex College, Quavatus mainly. I just had like every position there, including managing editor, so a little bit of everything. I was also part of the philosophy club. I was president of the philosophy club and then vice president and president of the Russian club and on the college assembly. And what else? Oh yeah, we held the first community college statewide philosophy symposium, which was pretty neat. And I got to present something there, which got published in the philosophy journal. So that was pretty cool. And I also won a couple of awards for reporting for like the website when I was still at Quo Vadis, and for my current job for a special issue in the newspaper for 2 years for third place. I got first place for photo portfolio in 2019, and this year I got third place for COVID-19 coverage and first place for breaking news for the Boundbrook fire. I don't know if I missed anything, but
That's so great. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so I'm Kamal, like Sanjana mentioned, and I graduated Middlesex College in January 2020 with degrees in biology, biotechnology, and chemistry. I took a gap semester and then I joined Rutgers in fall 2020, where I'm majoring in cell biology and neuroscience on a pre-med track. As for accomplishments at MC, I was the vice president at PTK and Volunteers in Action. Also, I joined many other clubs and volunteered on college as well with doing research in chemistry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Eileen. Like Nirali, I also graduated last spring with an associate's in political science. While I was at Middlesex College, I was the vice president of the Hispanic Club and also the president of the African Diaspora Alliance and the Education Opportunity Fund Club. I was also Bonner Leader program. I was really passionate about just helping my community as much as I can. And then when I graduated, I transferred to Rider, and in one more year, I'm going to get my bachelor's in political science, and I'm also like a double minor in global studies and Spanish. And at Rider, I've continued that engagement. I think it kind of shifted at Middlesex. I focus a lot on like being on executive boards on different clubs, organizations. And at Rider, I'm focusing more on internships. Like currently right now, I'm a paralegal assistant. So I'm focusing more on getting experience and also doing different programs.
We have Nirali back on.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk anything? Talk about anything else, Nirali?
Yeah, so sorry. Hopefully it shouldn't
Alright.
happen again. But I was gonna say, yeah, as far as accomplishments are concerned, so I was a treasurer for the STEM club at MCC. Besides that, I got the opportunity to get an internship through the connections of one of my professors in the summer of 2020. Hopefully, when there was a pandemic, I was doing something virtually. The research was funded by NASA and NSF, and it was like totally different field since it was geospatial imaging, which I didn't had any clue about. But I just went with the faith of my professors and just gave it a shot, and it turned out well. Then, and I was just a member of PTK, but I know I didn't get the opportunity to be a leader. And when I see the leaders here, it just made me proud to be a part of this club. So go you guys. And that's all I wanted to say.
So thank you all for sharing, and it's always a pleasure to hear about the success and endeavors of Middlesex College alumni and learn from their achievements.
Absolutely. And it's so nice to see so much of involvement and on so many spheres. And it's really wonderful to hear all about it. So some of you have just spent a year in college and that too amidst a pandemic, yet your engagement seems so strong. How did you find all these opportunities even at your four-year university? Like did you reach out to specific resources in order to take advantage of these opportunities?
what kind of opportunities specifically?
Like all the engagement that you did at your college at the four-year university.
Yeah, because at the 4 year, I know at the 2 year at Middlesex, I definitely took advantage by going to like the student activities fair, which lets you figure out, which clubs you might want to join. So that's how I figured out. I wasn't sure if I was even going to enjoy journalism, but I definitely did. And Rutgers does the same thing. So I pretty much did that because I was also in Society of Professional Journalism at Rutgers, which has its own chapter there. So that's how I got involved with that. A lot of the professors also help you out, especially if they're like your department head. they'll work with you and help you with different internships, especially different jobs and different clubs that you should be a part of. Because at least from what I learned in journalism, in some of my classes, they have like guest professors come in and tell you a little bit more about their fields. So it's really good to take some of the intro classes.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I can talk about Rutgers. So currently at Rutgers, I am a part of student support services. So that's something which I guess would be helpful to people who are first generation students. Um, so you can get involved in it. I think you will be receiving invitations to attend like information session as soon as they realize that you are a first generation student. I think that's something you mentioned in your applications as well. Um, and after that, it's something that you get help with your career readiness, because I think junior and senior years are something where you are kind of managing both. More than studies, you are like more focused on finding internships or like job opportunities after that. So that's something I would encourage like people to look out for, because that would be beneficial. At least it has been to me. Then the other things I would say is Paul Robson Leadership Institute, for people who are like more involved or like interested in working for people of color or communities like Black communities. They do raise like campus awareness, inclusion, and diversity policies on campus. So that is something also to get involved in. And that information or like invitation to join will be provided in the new student orientation period, where you attend like when you get admitted to Rutgers, you have to like complete some of the modules or like attend some sessions to just get ready for attending four-year universities and Rutgers specifically. So you will get to know much about different clubs and organizations at Rutgers through those NSO Canvas site, as well as the events that you attend through NSO. So yeah, that would be a great thing. And additionally, as Alexander mentioned, there will be like the, I guess, what do you call it? The club fairs, where like all the clubs would come in and they would provide information about their specific clubs, and you get to know about
This year they did a
everything.
virtual one of those.
Yeah, so it's like for Rutgers specifically, it's Get Involved. That's a website where you get to know about
I
all
was
the
actually going to
events.
mention that. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think every college would have some sort of additional version of that. But yeah.
And there's also a transfer students association you can be a part of as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, at Rutgers, there's also this transition course they offer, which you have to take after coming from a two-year college. And in that course, they introduce you to all the different opportunities, clubs and the events that happen on campus. And like that course is like full-on awareness type of course where you get to know everything and everything need to go about from there.
Yeah, that was really neat, because you basically have to try out different clubs and different activities. So you can still pick ones you like, but there's certain like requirements, so you get a variety of different things you can try. Like I went hiking, there was like participation for different fraternities, stuff like that. It was really neat.
Just to add on to that, I don't think so. People or like students that are willing to go to SEBS, we don't have the transition class that's being mentioned. So that's something.
Yeah, it's a requirement in SAS.
Yeah, so like for people in SEBS, just a shout out, you have to like find everything yourself.
Yeah, you can just use the Get Involved site, because that's what we use to like find activities that match that.
But I mean, I don't regret it, but it's just that it's more kind of the research that you do, and it will just assess your engagement and your willingness to like get involved in different things. But yeah.
So for Ryder, what really helped me, they also have the club thing, like it's called Broncopalooza, but because of the pandemic, it was online. So it gives you opportunity to talk to different presidents and just like the executive board of different clubs and just really gauge out your interest. And then also I would do some research. A lot of the information is on the school's website. So for my school, sometimes depending on your program, there's like like there's a special like building or like somewhere to go that can help you find internships. So I'm a political science major, and at Rider they have the Rebabich Institute. So if you're looking for internships in politics or law, you would go there, and they have one for business. So depending on your major, they might have a place for you where they have faculty there that can help you find internships and also tell you who to talk to. Like I talked to the Rebabich Institute, and they recommended different professors to reach out to and contact them, and they're really nice. Like as Alex said before, like if you do kind of build a connection with your professor, so I really suggest going to office hours if you can, just to check in. They'll recommend all these different internships. Like some of my professors last semester, they told me different law internships that I can apply for. So also like just focus like on building connections, because you just never know where like that connection can take you.
So thank you all for sharing. And just to bring you or everyone's attention, we have another alumni here, Vikas Matta. And thanks, Vikas, for joining us and being here today. And would you like to talk a little bit about yourself, your major, any accomplishment that you like to share with us?
Well, I started off at Middlesex. It was a great step forward. It was a great transition into Rutgers. I'm actually at the business school. I'm majoring in finance. I'm actually happy to be graduating in a few weeks. It's finally over. But I was in PTK for a while. And we did a lot of volunteer work, a lot of just a bunch of events. I got connected with a lot of people at Rutgers, and that's kind of how I decided I wanted to go to the Rutgers Business School. Just meeting a lot of people in the business school.
That's really, really nice. And thank you so much, everyone, for sharing all of this. And it's amazing to see how engaged you are, even in a four-year university where the atmosphere is so drastically different from what it is at a community college. And that actually brings me to my next question. How was the shift from a small college to a larger university? Were there any obstacles or challenges you encountered, and how did you address them? Whoever wants to take that first.
I think there were a handful of challenges transferring from Middlesex to Rutgers. It was Middlesex was a very loving and small community. We knew everyone on campus. Transferring over to Rutgers was just a huge campus. It was very scary. So many clubs, so many people. So that was just one part of it. But once you get used to it, it's less scary. There's just so many opportunities thrown at you. It's just so many different people. It's just crazy. The biggest challenge I want to say was there was certain classes I was in that had like over 300 students, compared to being in Middlesex with like 20 or 30 students. So it was less attention, with the professors.
Going off that, yeah, that was the biggest change because at Middlesex College it's much smaller, so it's a lot easier for you to stand out, and it's a lot easier to get accomplishments at Middlesex. So at Rutgers, it's a little bit more difficult because of huge classes like that, especially right after you transfer. When you start taking some of your introduction classes, there might be like 300-400 people in there. But as you get deeper into your major, depending on what it is, it might be smaller class sizes, but it really depends on what you're majoring in. I think the hardest part is just trying to figure out how to manage your time wisely and how not to get too overwhelmed, because there might be so many options you might want to do. Like every club you can, but you just have to manage your time because it's literally impossible to do everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, you're going from smaller class sizes, very large class sizes. It's a very big change. For me, academic wise, wasn't that big of a change, only because when I enrolled at Rutgers, everything was already online, so I didn't really feel that. But people I talked to who transferred before me, they definitely saw the big change they had to go through. As for you know, there were definitely obstacles because larger universities, you don't get everything on the plate. You have to research, you have to work for it. Definitely be on top of it. Research as much as you can. Take good, like avail the opportunities as much as you can, but also know how much it is, good for you to handle and everything. And one big thing is like, make sure that you're on top of the due dates because there are many to remember. So make sure you're not missing anything out in case you're extremely interested in something.
Yeah, I would second whatever Komal said. Just so like another thing which I felt personally was that the way I used to interact with professors at Middlesex College, like be it office hours, in class interaction, etc., is quite not possible with professors at Rutgers. Like you really have to be planning ahead of time, like literally a week before, even if you need like an office hour appointment. So that's something I got used to now finally. And then emails, like, I don't know, I feel like that's the biggest change. I haven't been looking at my emails at Middlesex. Now coming to Rutgers, I have like emails, 50 emails each day that I have to like answer back and forth. Maybe it's also due to like the virtual things. The remote learning has shifted that, but also like all the important information you would not be receiving calls, or like you won't be seeing people.
You get like
You
an
missed it.
alert on email.
Yeah, it's everything on email, so like you have to be really cautious. At Rutgers specifically, like even I guess the advisor's appointment, or like if you want to getting advice from CES, which is like career services and stuff, you have to like pre-plan it at least 2 weeks before, which I didn't felt anything that was in Middlesex like that. So that's one thing that I would add to it. But then everything else is what Komal said.
I would also say to take advantage of the resources Rutgers gives you, or whatever college you're going to, because there's a lot of different things that career services and academic services can help you, like figuring out which courses you need to take for your degree, because you might have missed something. And definitely they even do like resume and interview help, lots of different career fairs, same as Middlesex, but there's even more of them with hundreds and hundreds of different employers.
For writer, I didn't have that same experience. I don't know, education is a really popular major. I don't know if it's just because I was a political science major, but the class size is really similar to Middlesex. I really like that. I think the hard part is just like transitioning into a new environment where you don't know anybody, you don't have that. Like at Middlesex, I had these professors, I had advisors, I already had like a comfortable safety net, so you had to like make your own. And for me, it was more challenging the course load. I think it was way more than Middlesex. So just I had to really schedule in and just organize myself more compared to Middlesex. But once I just had a plan and organize myself, things got like a lot better.
Yeah, each semester I would make a list that was probably a page and a half to 2 pages long of just every assignment for every class I had, and stick all of them in my Google Calendar so I would never be behind on anything. Because Canvas is cool, but you can't trust it.
Yeah, one thing to add on that, I'm not sure. I mean, I never did it at Middlesex, but I had to do it for Rutgers. I think it depends on school as well. But at Rutgers, like if you decide to register for classes, you have to get approved for it with your like academic advisor. I don't think that was what I did for Middlesex College.
I think it might depend on the class. Because for some of them you do need approval, and for a lot of them you have to basically keep in mind of prerequisites. So you definitely need to speak to a degree advisor to make sure you're taking things in the correct order, because not every class is offered in every semester. So you might be accidentally making it so it's impossible for you to graduate.
Yeah, for my school, like specifically SEBS, since like we are entering at junior level, so we need to like get approval from the academic advisor like each semester we take classes.
Yeah, because I think you have to apply to your major, and some certain things require for you to already be in that major. So it's like there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through. So you just need to make sure you're doing everything right, so things don't get messed up.
Oh yeah, for writers also the same. I think it's for all majors. You have to talk to your advisor and get green light, and then you can register for your classes just to make sure you're on track to graduate on time.
I think it's so interesting to see this few differences in different universities, but the transfer experience itself is certainly unique. So this brings us to our next question: that entering large university as a freshman can seem scary, and I can imagine what coming in as a transfer into such a huge, large, crowded university must have felt. So my question to you is that, do you think that being from a community college made a difference in your college experience, whether positive or negative?
I think it made a really big difference because going to Middlesex really allowed me to stand out and realize that I can accomplish a lot of different things and I'm capable of doing things. And plus it's so much smaller, especially the class sizes. So it's a lot easier to get personal help and really get to know your professors and really enjoy the classes there. So it definitely prepared me for switching to a 4-year university, even though it's still rough. It made you realize that you could do it, and you're capable of bigger things than you think that you think you're capable of.
I totally agree with everything that Alex said. I felt that if I started at a 4-year right out of high school, I think it would have been like too much pressure, very overwhelming. And I think Middlesex allowed me those 2 years just to prepare myself for that transition and really focus on what major I want to do, a class I want to do. It really helps you like discover yourself before you get into this really big commitment. And I just like, it gave me so much opportunity, so much like time and chance to like try out different things. And I felt like if I start off at a 4-year, it would have been really more restrictive.
Yeah, because I majored in liberal arts general because I didn't know what major I wanted to do, and going to Middlesex actually made me figure out what I wanted to do. So that was a huge part of that.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, starting out of county college, it just made me like more aware of like all the planning that I need to do while transferring. And so I feel like even when talking to people at Rutgers, like the ones that started at 4-year universities, um, we sort to like prepare more than them for everything because like we like fear to fail. And so like I think um talking to, and especially like you got to have like connections with professors at both universities, which is really helpful when you need like recommendation and stuff for graduate schools as well. So that's something I really like, and I think I wouldn't have achieved that if I started off at 4-year. And there are so great professors at MC too. Like they have like literally, I'm in contact with them right now. They guide me with everything because some of them have been like students at Rutgers as well. So yeah.
A couple of them teach at Rutgers too.
Yeah, I want to touch upon what Rohan was talking about. I know I mentioned earlier that it was a little bit scary, transitioning from Middlesex to Rutgers. I say that because of since it's such a big school, you have so many things coming at you at once. I want to say, I think Alex, you may know about this. I want to say there's about 500 clubs at Rutgers University, or is it more than that?
Might be even more.
It's
a lot.
I mean, just looking through the list of clubs, it must have took me a week just to get through the whole list.
Oh, you also have to be careful because some honor society are not legitimate, so you have to look up and see some of them are just give you a pretend thing to put on your degree for money and might be a scam. So definitely look out for that.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just amazing on how many clubs there were. I want to say that there's benefits to both sides, whether you start at Rutgers in the beginning or you start at Middlesex in the beginning. I felt that most of my relationships, with friends, students, I still talk to, I want to say at least 80% of everyone from Middlesex. And I continued my relationship with them into Rutgers. As opposed to everyone that was in Rutgers, I want to say it's just such a big school that it was hard to keep up with everyone. When I was in class in Middlesex, I mean, I used to go to classes with 20 or 30 students, and we used to always become friends with like 10 or 15 of them. Opposed to like the 300 people classes, it's hard to even make one good friend or relationship. I just feel like it's such a huge school. But again, there's benefits to both sides.
Yeah, like definitely joining the smaller clubs would probably help a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I totally agree. Middlesex definitely made the transition easier, but then again, there's ups and downs for both situations. There are some restrictions on opportunities as well, whether you're a transfer or not. So things like these, obviously, you have to plan ahead and look into them before, making decisions. I mean, like academic wise, I'd say it was when we talked to people who started at Rutgers. Most of the time, we seem more prepared apparently. So that's one good thing about how a community college helps you in transitioning.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. And I'm sure all of this is going to help them all our members get a head start on understanding what an experience at a four-year university looks like. And because Komal just touched upon the topic of study loads, and I'm sure that with all of our members transferring to colleges this year or next year, this is one question that has definitely crossed their minds is how difficult are the classes, and after transferring, how do you handle this increased study load, and whether Middlesex does prepare you to handle even the toughest of classes. So if you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I feel that Middlesex prepared me very well for moving forward into the four-year program. I know a lot of students that I go to school with kind of complain that the workload is a little bit harder, but also we have to understand that the further you go on from freshman to sophomore to junior, the senior level classes, they're going to be more tougher. Once you go into the higher numbers in the classes, it's going to get a lot tougher, and as closer you get closer to graduation. But as far as being prepared, Middlesex really over prepared us for the transfer. I feel that way, at least.
I agree. As for the difficulty of courses, you can't really predict that, even though there's like entry-level courses and then there's advanced courses. But it really depends on the curriculum that's set for the class. I actually took a 200 level course. So in Rutgers, there's like 100, 200s, and then 300s and 400 level courses, with 400 and 300s being the advanced courses. So I took a 200 level course, and then I took a 400 level course my first semester at Rutgers. The 400 was so much easier than the 200 one. So depends on the professor and depends on the curriculum that has been set for the course. Good thing is you can definitely find the curriculum online, maybe not from the present year, but from probably definitely the previous year. So that's one thing, again, management and organization, you need to plan ahead what you're going to do and definitely meet up with academic advisors to get help with that.
I see a question over in the chat about courses that are useful when you transfer. A lot of mine transferred, especially the English expository that somebody mentioned. I don't know if it's the same at Rider, but I know at Rutgers, if you got your associate degree at Middlesex or whatever two-year school you're transferring from, essentially and you have at least 60 credits, essentially that fulfills all your like general requirements when you transfer to Rutgers. There's because those are basically counting as your first 2 years. So you're basically transferring and you're doing the last 2 years in junior. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
For Rider, it's a little bit different. You get the credits, but it has to match the curriculum. So if it doesn't match the curriculum, you won't get points for that, but it'll still be part of like the total amount of credits you need to get the degree. But with preparing, I agree with what everyone else said. I felt that Middlesex really did prepare me, and it really depends on what classes you're taking. So if you're taking classes at Middlesex that challenge you and also kind of relate to your future career goals. So I want to be a lawyer, so I have to like read and write a lot. So I took a lot of writing classes that were a bit advanced, and I think that really prepared me for Rider. So just making sure you're taking classes right now that are challenging you, and you're going to build on those skills. So when you do transition to a 4-year, you're going to have those skills and you just got to use them more. And also there's so many different resources, like there's tutoring, there's subject tutoring as well. There's a writing center, and you're paying for that through your tuition. So there's so many different resources. It is a bit challenging. I think it's just like, not necessarily, sometimes it's not harder. I feel like it's just a lot more work to be done in the same time frame. So I think just organizing yourself, and even if you don't get it, go to office hours. There's so many different resources you can tap into so that you can be successful.
Yeah, I think I don't need to add anything. I second everything what everyone said. Especially like there is the learning center at Rutgers as well. And there is another I think peer coaching. So like there are two different things where in one you are just taught to like time management and organization skills, etc. So it I was like a person who didn't like really pay attention to it when I first entered it because I thought like I would be pretty good at it. But then as like the um semester like furthered, and then I was a little bit concerned about like managing all my courses, specifically like the deadlines and like working part-time, doing research and stuff. So that was an issue, which I got to resolve like after attending some of the coaching centers, like where they only just they don't do anything, but they teach you like how to like approach learning techniques, like what can help you. And specifically for science majors, it's something like um, you need to like pay attention to because there is a lot of volume, at least for biochem major. It's like there is teacher don't cover everything in class, so that's more kind of you have to do study books, you have to like do external stuff to really prepare for exams and everything, and that requires like different learning styles than what I feel I used to do at Middlesex. So I really need that external advising to just prepare for like normal classes. So that's something I would recommend if anybody ever feel like out of zone at Rutgers. It has helped me, so hopefully it should help others. But yeah.
Well, I'm sure that all of these answers will prepare our current MC student well when they have to transfer. And as a community college student, financial aid is often very impactful on our college decisions. So when it comes to four-year colleges, money is definitely something all of us have to consider. And it might have felt an increasing burden for all of you. So my question is to you all that did you receive additional financial aid assistance in the form of grants or scholarship, and was paying for four-year college deferred from paying for a community college?
Do you want us to mention if we got any scholarships at Middlesex
Yeah, sure.
College
Yeah,
too?
like PTK scholarship or if
Yes.
there are any others.
Okay, I don't think I got any PTK scholarships at Middlesex. I did get a bunch of other scholarships like Debbie and John Backham, South Pole, and Carol A. Sipperstein. Although maybe I also got a PTK one, I don't remember. Uh, but the scholarships definitely helped. I also used Pell Grants and a lot of like other financial aid, and mostly I was able to do that because I moved back home. So I only worked part time, so my income was like under 12,000. So I qualified for a large Pell Grant. But as far as transferring to a 4-year school, there's not as many scholarships. There, a lot of them are first year and merit based. So if not for transfer students, there are a bunch. I think what was the biggest one? The biggest one that helped me was the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship, the transfer scholarship, because I had that all 4 semesters at Rutgers, and it gives you about 4,000 a semester or 8,000 a year. So that like covers a good half of how much your semester might cost. Let's see what else. And there's a couple. Yeah, there's like one other one, but there's not a lot through Rutgers, so you have to look through outside sources like different, giant scholarships website. There's a lot of them out there, and I definitely recommend looking at them really early because a lot of them have like June deadlines or even earlier than that for the following fall. So there's a lot of them like these. I got lucky with my financial aid, and the PTK scholarship covered almost everything for me, so I didn't need to do that. But if especially the Phi Theta Kappa one, because that one's very limited. I only got lucky because somebody dropped out, so they were able to put me in a spot. Especially if you're transferring like in the middle of the year, like in the spring. And there's a huge one, I think the Cook scholarship. If you're, I can't remember, it might be the Kent Cook. I can't remember if it's just for transfer or if it's also for graduate school, but that one is impossible to get if you're transferring in the spring. So you have to transfer in the fall and start at the 4-year school in the fall. So I did not know that, and that's a really, really big, expensive scholarship. So I would definitely look into that and think about that too.
Yeah, I also want to add to that.
Yeah,
I
that's the
also
one I was talking about,
recommend.
Jack Kent Cook. Yep.
Yeah, I also recommend when you whatever school you apply to, they usually have a financial aid section. You'll usually, at least for Rutgers and for Middlesex, I know there's a section where you can click on scholarships. In those sections, you're gonna have a huge list that you can choose from. You can definitely apply to a lot of different scholarships, but I would really look early in the process of applying to those scholarships.
So for Middlesex, I got a lot of grants, so I didn't really apply to the scholarship because the grants helped paid for it. But once I transferred to Rider because I won their transfer trustee scholarship. And that's basically any community college around the country can apply for it. You have to be a PTK student and there's a GPA requirement, but that pays your tuition for the whole year. So I would suggest, like everyone is saying, some schools, they have like really big scholarships like that for transfer students that can really help you out, but just research. And even like small, sometimes if you're part of an honor society, they have their own scholarships. Like I know PTK has that and other honor societies as well. So just do your research, try to apply to as many as possible, because 4 years obviously is going to be more expensive, and just starting off early and applying to as many, you have just a higher opportunity to get one of them.
Yeah, and also if I believe that if you're on financial aid or if you are short a certain amount of money, and always feel free to talk to the financial aid office at the school you're going to. I know that Middlesex and Rutgers are very helpful when it comes to those situations. Sometimes they may have different options outside of scholarships. They may have grants from the school itself. So I have a handful of friends that at Rutgers, they were offered $2,000 and $3,000 grants. They were called like Scarlet Promise grants, which they kind of just top off whatever the rest of the bill is if financially doesn't cover most of your fees. So sometimes those are available to certain students.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, for
There
me, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I also got the PTK scholarship. So I think that's something which you don't really have to apply because you hear back from them. Besides that, for Middlesex, as Vikas mentioned, just keep checking like the My MCC page, because all the announcements and stuff is getting posted over there, like especially when the scholarship is starting, the date, and then the deadlines and stuff. So I think that's where I found this about, and my professors also helped me like to just navigate through some of them, because most of them are like based on the financial needs, as well as like if you belong to certain communities or like if you are in a certain major and stuff like that. So for Rutgers, like the transfer, like the first year where you transfer, you don't receive anything from Rutgers. Like that's their thing, that there is no scholarship for transfer students when they enter in their first year. But then, so now like when people will become senior, like me, I'll be senior next year. So for that, then I can actually look into applying at scholarships. So that scholarships are actually based on, they differ school by school, but also they mostly are merit based. So I don't think schools offer like financial need stuff over there. It's just the financial aid application that you do. But like the different organizations, like I do know there is a Douglas Residential College as well as the Student Support Services. They do have like several grants. So they have like separate applications. So you really need to like be aware of if any organization is providing need-based grants to their students. So because I know like many of my friends have applied, and it's pretty easy to get because not many people apply to those. So yeah, that's something that I would look for. And then and that's specifically if you really are in a financial condition where you can't afford it. So they would actually not even check anything. You just need to apply a form, and then that's it. You will hear back from them within a week. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. For transfers, there's definitely like there are limited scholarships, and there are some competitive. The major one is definitely the PTK one. And as for other financial aid, the financial aid office. They definitely help. So anytime, reach out to them and they will get back to you. And yes, you have to apply for financial aid to get, other kind of financial assistance. So only the thing with them is, obviously, if you are eligible for FAFSA, definitely go for it. And just make sure of the due dates that are there. However, if you are international, like I am, so FAFSA is not an option. So you have to look into scholarships, and they also give you a bunch of private scholarships. So definitely look into those private scholarships and see if you can, don't apply to 5 or 10, apply to a lot, because they are competitive. And that's really the only way scholarship works for international students.
I think there was a question about NG stars, and since we're talking about financial aid, I thought if anyone wanted to answer that. NG stars. Anyways, I guess congratulations to all of you for all those scholarships. It's definitely so rewarding to see your academic efforts being paid off and paying for your future education. And I'm sure that's going to motivate our members to consider applying to all these scholarships as well. But some time ago, all of you, we introduced yourselves as PTK alum, and most of you have even served as former officers. And one of our members was actually asking this question in the chat, that how did being a member of PTK help you transfer to a four-year university, and how did PTK help you in your college experience, as well as the experiences that you had in the Upsilon Gamma chapter? How did they contribute to your career? Who wants to kick it off?
Yeah, I would say so. I was like one of those who like got into the club later in my college education, like since we only had 2 years, and then I was the one who like entered into the club in like my second year, so sophomore. And since like I was so involved in like other activities, I didn't really get the chance to like get more involved into the club. But just being the member and then having the having the knowledge of the club and stuff you get just after applying to the club, you are eligible for so many opportunities, like let's say the scholarship. So you are like an edge where you also can be eligible for the PTK, because it's a big amount, and since like your college tuition is going to be way too much at 4 years, so I wasn't much involved and I regret that. But then even then, just being a member of PTK, I was, and like based on my academic, whatever, like academic GPA, I was able to get that PTK scholarship. So that's something that has helped me a lot. But besides that, I do know that there are certain other scholarships as well. Like I do know there was a Coca-Cola scholarship through PTK, which one of my friend got. And then there was like so much leadership experience just based out of that scholarship that my friend was able to get. So yeah, I think, and especially like I do know Komal through this club, and there are so many friends that I made through this club. So, and we all still like, not that frequently, but we do talk to each other, like even being virtual, even being at Rutgers, but still not meeting each other, but we like are there for supporting each other, like through text and stuff. So I think that's something, the social network that you get from here is something that's going to help you, because you know that if you are going through something, there are other people that are like going through the same thing, and then they are like most knowledgeable at different things. So you cannot be best at everything, but you can actually like get guidance from all your peers. And I think success more through it. Yeah.
I'll just repeat the question because I know Alexandra just joined back. But we were just talking about how PTK has helped you in your college career, in your how the experiences with PTK at Middlesex have helped you in your college experience, as well as how it has helped you transfer to a four-year university.
Well, I wouldn't have been able to afford a four-year university if it wasn't for that PTK scholarship, definitely. And it's definitely helped me in leadership positions because it gave me a lot of experience in working with many different kinds of people on many different projects. So it really helped me be able to come out of my shell and basically figure out how to be more of a leader. So it's definitely helped me there.
Yeah, same here. I think was definitely a good step forward in learning about managing your time correctly and coordinating with other students, especially in a club where when we go to class we have requirements, we have assignments due, but PTK wasn't really a requirement. So it was nice to have a group together that all wanted to be there and go out of their classroom time and plan for the school. And I still keep in touch with a majority of the e-board on PTK. Same thing somebody had just mentioned earlier. We all support each other. We all still study together. So it was a very nice relationship that was built. So I never regret joining PTK at all. It was a real great move.
Anyone else like that?
And yeah, I definitely agree. PTK is basically a hub where you make friends. And then those friends always, I still know many people, like I'm in touch with many people from PTK and we hang out together sometimes. So it's good, definitely. And, there's community service, volunteering, leadership opportunities that get you prepared for what's to come. So it definitely helps.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just having that kind of support system, knowing people are there, and also just what PTK stands for, like they're gonna push you, want you to do better. So sometimes just having that kind of push makes you just reach like bigger and better heights and goals.
So just want to thank you all for being involved in Middlesex College PTK chapter. And as officer now, we all know how much work goes into developing our chapter, and your dedication is obviously very laudable. Like you all said, PTK definitely helped you succeed in your universities. And we have seen that Rutgers and Riders are both institutions that are commonly applied to by several students at Middlesex, which makes me wonder, was there any particular reasons why you chose the university, and what factors motivated your college choices?
One of like the biggest factors was affordability. So one of the initial reasons I was really passionate about Rider is they gave me the best deal. And then also when I did the campus, so I really wanted like an open field. So there's a lot of like places outside to like just hang out and chill. And then there's a focus on experience. So to graduate from Rider, you have to earn engaged learning points. And you can earn that through taking classes or doing like internships or being the executive board of clubs and doing different experiences. So like how there's a focus that education in the classroom is really important, but what about what's outside the classroom? So there's a huge emphasis on that, on internships and networking. And I was really excited to that because I really wanted to build on those skills, because when I was at Middlesex, I think I really just focused. I did all these different clubs, but I never thought about my career goals and what places can help me get there closer. And Ryder really helped me build on those skills and just really network. Like even the program I'm doing now with the Washington semester, not a lot of schools, some schools do have partnerships with American University, but not a lot of schools have these certain programs just designed for your major or just designed for your career goal. And that really got me super interested in Ryder.
I mainly picked Rutgers because it was convenient because I live in New Brunswick, and I kind of really like their journalism program. So, and I know a lot of people that went there for that. That's pretty much why I applied to a whole bunch of other ones, but Rutgers was my first choice.
Yeah, same here. I happen to know a handful of people that went to Rutgers. I mean, you have to do your research on maybe what school suits you. There may be a certain program that you like. You know, I know a lot of people that went to NGIT for more tech-based degrees. So I mean, every school has their maybe their rating or some type of reputation. There was kind of a trend of a lot of people talking about the business school of Rutgers everywhere I went. So I kind of just went with the flow, and it was a good choice.
Yeah, for me too, like Rutgers was like more convenient, like as for commuting purposes as well as I'm like more involved and interested in research. So that's why, like, since Rutgers has a big part of it just focused on research, like every faculty that you meet with is doing like some sort of research at Rutgers, specifically STEM. So that was something I was aspiring in my four-year university. Secondly, since I'm a pre-med, the HPO, like the health profession offices at Rutgers, is really helpful in like preparing you for your medical school applications and stuff. So that's something I looked at specifically when I was applying to like four-year universities that I want to be. Also, Rutgers is an association with the Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. So like um, so many people I know, how do they function is that, you know, they take research opportunities in a way that they get mentorship through um, the professors or faculties at RWJ. So that's how like they prepare for like their like medical school journey as well. So that's something I have in mind too. Like I'm trying to do that as well, just to like be more prepared.
That's really nice. It's nice to see that, you know, you've all thought of these choices well, and had stable reasons for having made those choices. And um, now to just continue with our questions, I just wanted to ask if there's any other advice or tips that you would give to your community college student as formal self, or just advice or tips that you would like to give to our members today.
Yeah, I saw a question earlier in the chat that it says, how did I settle in at Rutgers? I mean, with any school you go to, I would try to search up students that already go to the school you're applying to. That tremendously, like it really helped when I had reached out to certain school students at Rutgers. I mean, I got all types of advice from choosing certain classes in a certain order, making sure that you actually have the fulfillment, like all your classes are done correctly from Middlesex before transferring over to Rutgers. I know a few people that had transferred over to Rutgers that were a class short in order to become a full junior. Not that it's a big setback, it's, you know, maybe a class or two, but just to be over prepared. Talk to students, you know, ask them about what business or whatever your major is, what opportunities are there. So there were so many clubs offering scholarships. There was actually clubs offering scholarship opportunities. So for example, at the business school, we had a real estate club, and the professor who ran that real estate club offered all types of scholarships to students at Rutgers. You know, there's just so many things you can get just by making getting a mentor or a friend that's at Rutgers. You know, it helps a lot. Or any school you go to. You know, the way I found these students were maybe searching LinkedIn profiles, typing in Rutgers or typing in
I was
Rider.
about to say LinkedIn is super useful because it shows you like that other alumni went to a job. So making contacts through your clubs and through your classes is a really, really great tool. So if anything, make get some business cards so you can hand them out and make contacts and network.
Yeah, and also, you know, walk around the school that you apply to, go in through the buildings, get acquainted with. I mean, you know, when you go to a place like Rutgers, you can get lost real quickly. You know, talk to people. There's always usually ambassadors that are sitting in the front desk of every school. You know, talk to them, ask them questions. I remember my first question was to an ambassador, like, you know, what classes should I avoid? And there's always that one professor that you should avoid. And I'll never forget the list of professors I got that I had to avoid, and it helped out a lot in the long run.
Rate my professors. Definitely use that. Use that every time.
Any other tips, advice?
Thinking.
To manage and organize your time very well. Make sure you're on top of the due dates and everything. And yeah, also with the credits, get into touch with probably the college you are transferring to, because sometimes, there are some disparities. So you have to kind of make sure that whatever courses you're taking, they will transfer if you want them to transfer. So you don't have to take additional courses at the university you go to.
And definitely double check with advisors, because I've had classes where essentially it would say that it counted for a certain part of your major or minor or specialization on the website. And I would double check with the professor, and she would say, yeah, but then Degree Navigator would say no. And then usually the Rutgers system would go off Degree Navigator and send you an automated email saying, you don't have enough stuff to graduate. So definitely talk to people instead and double check everything. And another big tip I would say is, depending on your major, like for mine, it's journalism, so it's a little bit more useful. Definitely pick something, a minor that goes either with your major or something you can either fall back onto, because mine also has different specializations. And in those, don't just take the easy classes. Take ones that will actually be useful in your career and ones that you'll enjoy. Because if they're not, if they're not useful and if you're not going to enjoy them, you're not going to do well in them, and you won't be, you won't be into them, and it'll just be a waste of your time. Don't take dance appreciation. That's a waste of money.
Yeah, I think one thing that I would say is that so after you graduate from Middlesex College, there will be like a summer where you can decide what major you want to do at 4 year. So like whatever 4 year you go to. So for Rutgers, because I actually graduated with like biology and chemistry. So there are like biological sciences major offered at Rutgers as well. But there are literally so many other majors which you can take like based on these degrees. So just like do some research and then explore what you will want to do. Because I think one of the loophole, I guess, is that you won't be like that much free to change your majors frequently at 4 years as you can do it at Middlesex, because like the course load is different. Then the courses are hard too, and then you don't want to like waste your time or delay your graduation as well. So that's something which I really, and it will freak you out because it did to me, because there is literally so much. There is biochemistry, biotech, um, a lot Ladora, and there are literally so many majors which I haven't even heard about, and they are like being offered at Rutgers or basically in 4 universities. So doing research on what you could possibly be the best fit for would be the best thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone said. And really talking to your advisor, like I had friends who were some credit short. So making sure you're like on track to graduate. I would try if you can to like take 15 credits every semester so you can meet that 120 total credits requirements. And just like I agree with what Nirala said, really do your research. I think before going into like whatever school you want to, look at different clubs, look at different programs. So when you start there, you kind of have an idea what you should focus on. Because sometimes when you go there, it's so many different clubs, so many things to do. It can be overwhelming. And if you would have just took like a few like days or a few weeks just to do your research, you have an idea so you're not overstimulated with all these different options.
Very true, very true. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for answering all of our questions and even the questions that have been flowing into the chat. We can actually take live questions now. So if any of the members want to unmute and ask questions or drop them in the chat and we can discuss them live.
Well, there were let's see, there's a couple questions. Did we miss these? The scholarship application tips?
Yeah, if you want to take any of them, that's fine too, I guess.
For those, I would say definitely what we said earlier, start on them early, because some require for you to have references or referrals or whatever they're called, letters of recommendation. There we go, letters of recommendation. So definitely give whoever you're trying to get those from at least like a month ahead of time, and definitely pre-write them for them, so that way they can just take a look at it, edit anything that they disagree with or think they want to change, and then just sign it. Don't wait till the last moment, because those are super important.
Anyone else want to add on scholarship tips, scholarship essay tips?
As far as scholarships, when you try to build a relationship as much as you can with as many professors as you can, whether it's at Middlesex or if it's at Rutgers or Riders. I had a professor who ended up reading one of my scholarship essays that I was really close with, and he ended up giving me tips for a next scholarship that I was doing. I didn't get the scholarship that he read, but he gave me tips for the next scholarship that I had applied to, and I ended
It's
up
really
actually
awesome,
saying
because
that.
you never really get like, oh, here's how you should improve it. You just get a rejection letter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
that was
awesome.
very nice for him to help me with that. And I actually ended up getting that scholarship that I had applied for. It wasn't a ton of money, but it was a few $100, and it was nice just to make a relationship with the professor. You know, it's always good to carry a relationship with a professor, especially when you start getting into your higher level classes, because you never know when a professor may want to hook you up with an internship or a job offer.
Yeah, like for my major, journalism, the head of the department, oh my God, what is his name? I'm blanking out his name, but he essentially is the head of all internships and everything, and he has a billion connections to everyone in the industry.
Yeah.
So definitely want to be friends with those.
Yeah, always try to be friendly. You know, try to keep some type of relationship, even though it's a big school. Try to say hello. Try to say good morning. It's nice to always hear from students or professors. You know, you don't want to just be another face in the crowd, and you never know the kind of advice you can get. I have a friend who received an offer from Citibank based on just their interaction with the professor. So it's nice to always keep a relationship. You know, we have to always also remember that we're trying to go to college to increase our career goals. You know, to get a job. So these professors can help us a lot in these positions.
Yeah, I would second what Vikas said. Also, like, just to talk to the professors, and then I actually got the internship too, like in the summer, where like no, I didn't had anything, and the plans that I made were like the programs that I applied to didn't worked out because of the pandemic. So like just the last moment thing, one of my professors like sent me an email connecting me with like one of her connections, and through that I was able to get like the internship, which I didn't expect it. But also they would also guide you at the different programs at the 4 years as well, like different majors, and then what you can do, which professors you can connect to even at 4 years, just based on your connection with professors at MCC. So I think that is something I really liked, and that has helped me a lot in my transition as well.
Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, and if you also get any questions in the future, always feel free to email me as well. I'm gonna put my email in the chat again.
Yeah, I would do the same.
too.
So like if anyone needs any further questions or like anything, just email me.
Thank you for sharing your emails. I guess we don't have any questions, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and it was truly a pleasure and honor to have you here. Thank you for taking out the time and answering all the questions that we had. We've learned so much from this whole experience.
Yeah. Thank you all. I also just gonna say the same thing what Sanjana said. Thank you all for coming here, and we all learned a lot from you. And I think we can just follow what you did, and maybe we can just be able to successful in our field. So thank you for coming and sharing your tips.
Thank you so much for having us. Like, it was really nice.
Hopefully, we could have made it possible on campus, but because of COVID, we couldn't. You could have maybe be able to visit the campus, but I think now we are under the virtual Middlesex College roof, so still you must have got the somewhat experience of Middlesex College.
Absolutely.